Tonight, Premier Scott Moe addresses the Alberta separation referendum. The Supreme Court of Canada denies a Regina man's murder conviction appeal. And the family wants answers after the death of a woman giving birth.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Since the province of Alberta decided to have a referendum in the fall over the amount of interest in separating from Canada, Saskatchewan's Premier Scott Moe has remained tight-lipped. But with the Western Canadian premiers meeting in Kananaskis today and tomorrow, Moe provided some of his insight into the situation. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the details.
A question about Alberta's future in Canada remains at the top of mind for many, including Premier Scott Moe.
We have a plebiscite legislation in Saskatchewan. BC, I believe, has a plebiscite legislation as well. Those are the three provinces that have citizen initiative questions that can be put forward. And so if that was met in Saskatchewan, I would, we're a government that would follow the law.
It is one of the main topics of discussion at the annual Western Premiers Conference in Alberta, where the leaders of Canada's 7 Western provinces and territories are meeting. Alberta Premier Daniel Smith says the question about Alberta independence will be added to a larger provincial referendum coming on October 19th, asking Albertans if they want to stay in Canada or if they want to have a second referendum on whether or not to separate.
We've had 700,000 people who've asked to have the question of whether to remain in Canada or leave Canada, and so I'm following our law.
Moe says he does think it's beneficial for Alberta to remain in Canada. However, it is not up to him.
What I would say, and it isn't for me to tell Albertans how to vote in these questions or any others that are coming to them.
Yet the NDP says Moe's response is not enough.
He's not doing enough to talk about the ramifications that even the discourse of separatism is having, like we've seen with the Alberta Chambers of Commerce report, that even the discourse around this issue is causing uncertainty and it's causing economic repercussions.
A new pipeline being proposed from Alberta to British Columbia is also up for discussion at the conference. The meeting will conclude on Tuesday. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A 62-year-old Regina man is charged with mischief endangering life, alleged to have pointed a laser at the Regina Police Service's plane. Last Saturday, just before 10 in the evening, the aerial support unit was hit with a laser. Officers on board located the suspect hiding behind an umbrella in the backyard of a residence on the 2100 block of Francis Street. Officers on the ground arrested the suspect and he will make his first court appearance on June the 24th. 3 people facing charges after RCMP conducted a search warrant last Friday at a residence in Melville on 2nd Avenue East. On May the 21st, the man was robbed and assaulted by an individual. An investigation led to a search warrant where RCMP found 2 BB guns, ammunition, cash, a small quantity of cocaine and methamphetamine, and 2 stolen bicycles. A 44-year-old man from Regina is facing multiple charges, including robbery, assault with a weapon, and discharging a firearm with intent. A 46-year-old man from Melville and a 33-year-old from Regina are also facing charges. All 3 appeared in Yorkton Provincial Court today. The trial of a former Regina music teacher charged with sexual crimes against a minor began at Court of King's Bench. Jacob Carr has more on today's testimony and a warning. Some viewers may find the details in this story unsettling.
What's expected to be a week-long trial got underway here at Court of King's Bench. Claire O'Belen pleaded not guilty to charges of sexual interference, sexual assault, and invitation to sexual touching stemming from an alleged incident from February of 2024. The alleged assault took place during a private music lesson on February 3rd, 2024, where the alleged victim at the time was 9 years old. The proceedings on day 1 largely consisted of Crown Prosecutor Gillian Barrowman and Defense Counsel Nicholas Robinson questioning the alleged victim, now 11 years old, about what occurred in February of 2024. 2 days after the alleged incident, the minor was interviewed by a police officer in their then elementary school, and that interview was played in full for the court. The discussion involved the officer showing the child drawings of different parts of the human body before circling them with a marker and asking the child to name them one by one. When being questioned by the Crown, the alleged victim recounted being in the washroom when Belen came in and proceeded to expose himself to them, followed by forcing the victim to put their hand on it. Before the alleged washroom incident, the child also described Belen as ordering them to lay on the floor, where he then proceeded to lay on top of them. In cross-examination, Robinson asked the alleged victim multiple times if they could possibly be misremembering things or making some of it up. Each time, the alleged victim replied with, "It is not possible." The father of the alleged victim offered his testimony on the day, along with the school principal and resource officer at the time, rehashing their version of the alleged events. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A portion of a former Saskatchewan educational assistance appeal has been allowed in relation to a sexual exploitation case. Stacey Duke was convicted on 6 charges last year in connection with incidents involving 2 17-year-old boys in 2022. Now, at the time, Duke was working as an educational assistant at Vibank Regional School. Duke's appeal argued the trial had errors on the issue of whether Duke was in a position of trust and authority, which the defense says may have impacted the verdict. A conviction appeal was allowed for the charges related to the second boy, calling for a new trial. Duke's conviction with the first boy was upheld, but she was granted leave to appeal her sentence on those charges. Supreme Court of Canada has dismissed the Regina man's appeal of his murder conviction in a brutal homicide. Dylan Ricky Whitehawk was found guilty of second-degree murder in 2022 in connection with the death of Keisha Bitternose 2 years prior. Saskatchewan's Court of Appeal upheld the conviction in 2025, but a dissenting opinion from one justice allowed Whitehawk to take the matter to the Supreme Court. In a decision handed down last week, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled to dismiss the appeal on much of the same grounds as the lower court's decision. Whitehawk is currently serving a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years over both Bitternose's death and a separate Regina homicide in 2019, where he was granted a retrial earlier this year. That same retrial also found Whitehawk was not guilty in connection with a third homicide. A province-wide campaign has been launched to prevent human trafficking and fraud within the trucking industry in Saskatchewan. In partnership with the Saskatchewan Trucking Association and Saskatchewan Crime Stoppers, the initiative aims at combating exploitation and human trafficking, fraudulent activity, and fraudulent documents within the industry. As part of the campaign, drivers will have bolded banners on the back of their commercial truck trailers stating, "See something? Say something."
Human trafficking in general is an epidemic. It's just that not a lot of attention has been brought to it in the past. It's starting to gain traction now. I know the RCMP in Saskatchewan has just developed a human trafficking team, so they're well underway to curtailing what they can.
Drivers are encouraged to report any suspicious activity anonymously through Saskatchewan Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or visit saskatchewancrimestoppers.ca. The family of a Saskatchewan woman who died following pregnancy complications is demanding answers. They're calling for a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding her death in a Saskatoon hospital. Stacey Hine has details.
Not a day goes by without me thinking of her.
Blaine Morin tears up as he speaks about his partner, Jaylee Weenie Sutherland. The 24-year-old died last month following pregnancy complications.
We were just excited that baby was going to make her way here. We're just getting prepared for her baby shower, and then that's when everything happened.
Weenie Sutherland's family says she went to Rostern Hospital with severe back pain, trouble breathing, and was coughing up blood. They say she was transferred to RUH, then to Jim Pattison's Children's Hospital in Saskatoon, where she was diagnosed with preeclampsia, a serious pregnancy complication that can cause high blood pressure and organ damage. It's estimated she spent about 14 hours in an observation room. They say she was later moved to labor and delivery, where she died less than 2 hours later. Her baby girl survived, but Weenie Sutherland's mother is left to grieve her own daughter.
We were just supposed to embark on this journey of mother, daughter, granddaughter, and now we can't. My baby Jaylee's gone.
Her family and the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations say warning signs were missed, her concerns were dismissed, and critical care was delayed or denied. They are calling for a full, transparent investigation into the circumstances surrounding Weenie Sutherland's death.
The family continues to carry difficult questions about decisions that were made. Who made those decisions? to leave Jaylee in the observation room.
In a statement, the Saskatchewan Health Authority says any death during labor or delivery is investigated as a critical incident, and an investigation is underway, adding it's met with the family and members of its First Nation and Métis team to support communication. Weenie Sutherland's family says she had earned a social work degree and was set to graduate next month. They remember her as loving, compassionate, and always ready to listen. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan's first tornado of the year has been confirmed. Researchers at the Northern Tornadoes Project out of Ontario's Western University have rated the Landspout tornado as an EF0. It was spotted in the Bethune-Disley area on Friday afternoon. No damage was reported, giving the storm a default rating of EF0. Researchers will verify the rating and a lack of damage with satellite imagery. The first one of the year, Sabine, possibly. Well, there's going to be more for sure. And heat usually causes those thunderstorms that make the bigger tornadoes. And we are seeing the heat this week.
That's right. Even today, we're still seeing a gradual warm up in the Regina area, but it got to about 29 degrees today. So very warm temperature, and that's just the start. As you can see behind me, Environment and Climate Change Canada issued heat warnings but this afternoon, late this afternoon, we saw them go into place. And that's essentially talking about our daytime highs getting into the low to mid 30s for most of this week, and not much relief heading into the evenings, as those temperatures are expected to be in the high teens to low 20s. Now, for reference, the average low is usually around 6 to 7 degrees. So a very warm low is expected and very warm daytime highs expected. And the combination between the heat and high humidity usually does result in some thunderstorms popping up. But I'll have more details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. Today, it would have been nice for a parade maybe in downtown Regina, which has been the place to go for routes in the past, but that won't be the case in the future, as permanent changes are being made for where parades can go into Queen City. Mick Favel tells us more.
Parade routes, big and small, are going to look different in the Queen City due to safety and emergency access concerns. The Regina Police Service deals with all parade permits and was a part of a planning committee to make some of the city's biggest gatherings efficient and convenient for everyone.
We balance three things. Number one is the safety of anyone that's participating, attending, viewing. We balance out the impact on the rest of the public so that normal operations can continue, and then the resources required both from the city and the police and or fire.
Over the weekend, the Sikh community paraded through South Central Regina. Under the new regulations, they worked to make the parade as inconvenient as possible for those unaware of the celebration.
We were given instructions on how the vehicles would be put together, how motorcycles should not be leading, how we should have it in a way where the procession is starting with the slowest vehicle at the front, followed by the fastest towards the end.
The Queen City Pride Parade is the first big event to be rerouted and adjusted downtown. In recent years, it has seen huge growth. Despite missing some major Regina landmarks, organizers are looking forward to some of the new changes.
The parade route is now a nice loop, so people can get back to their cars really easily, so that's really exciting. The route is able to still go down Albert, which means a lot to us. It's still able to go in front of the Legislative Building, which means so much to us.
The planning committee was formed last year and includes members of the Fire Department, City Engineers and Planning, as well as the Provincial Capital Commission. Changes are planned to be made to a number of different events throughout 2026, including sticking close to the route of this year's Pride Parade.
There's a lot of advantages to the new route because it actually works with traffic. The streets that are chosen because they are divided. There's center median, which creates a safety.
Other major events will learn the new changes when their applications are sent to RPS. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Following two suspicious deaths in the Pelican Narrows area, leaders are asking for government support to address the increase of violence in the north. Peter Ballantine Cree Nation and Prince Albert Ground Council are calling on the province and the federal governments for support in policing, addictions treatment, mental health support, youth programming, surveillance systems, reliable cellular service, and long-term First Nations-led policing. The Saskatchewan RCMP said in a statement that it is engaging with Peter Ballantine Cree Nation and Prince Albert Grand Council to discuss new policing models in the area.
I am confident and optimistic that we can do this. As leaders, But absolutely we need that support from government.
The RCMP says it is ensuring through consultation will be completed before any changes are announced. Well, keeping flames from spreading to nearby cottages and the surrounding area was the priority for firefighters in Emma Lake as crews battled a major two-structure fire. As Carla Shinkaruk tells us, intense heat played a part in the outcome.
You can feel the heat from here.
Flames could be seen from across Emma Lake as Lakeland and Buckland fire crews worked to contain the fire on the west side of Emma Lake at Guy's Beach. One structure was already heavily involved when fire crews arrived on scene.
Wasn't much wind, but there was enough wind just to sort of start pushing the heat towards the second cabin. When the second cabin did start or become fully involved, the heat from it actually did melt some of the siding and stuff on the next cabin south to that as well.
But because the fire is believed to have started on the exterior, it spread quickly.
Our dispatch did saying that there was a call that came in that there was an explosion. I wasn't on scene at the time, so I'm not sure, but no, there was no injuries from any explosion.
Thankfully, unlike last year at this time, snow has helped with moisture levels, so crews didn't have to worry as much about the fire spreading through the tinder dry grass and brush, but they attacked it aggressively to be sure.
Like even where the engine was parked, and I could feel the heat over that way as well. We always know that when you get there, the main priority is structural protection to try and contain it and keep it from spreading.
This thing's climbing the tree now.
We did have one tree, it was a spruce tree, a fairly tall one, that it did actually ignite. But with it being a spruce tree and fairly green, as long as the wind stayed down, I wasn't concerned of it going anywhere. We didn't get it extinguished. It was just trying to reach the height at the top of the tree was the biggest issue.
Hewitt has been with the volunteer fire department for 30 years.
This is probably, I think, the first time where we've lost two at the same time.
Firefighters set up a high-volume portable pump at the lakefront to draw water directly from Emma Lake, helping supply engines and tankers until about midnight. No one was injured in the fire as the seasonal cabins were not occupied at the time. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
Not sure whose place it is.
Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, the Prime Minister warns Albertans a separation referendum is not a bargaining chip. And a closer look at one of the submarines being considered by the federal government. Prime Minister Mark Carney called Alberta Premier referendum question a bit of a dangerous bluff. It's one that reminded him of the UK's Brexit vote. Now, last week, Danielle Smith announced that a referendum set for October would include a question about whether or not the province should pursue separation. Rachel Aiello has the latest from Kananaskis.
That is a very dangerous bluff.
A stark 6-word warning from Prime Minister Mark Carney for Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
In these separation issues, it is often advanced that vote for this and it's a free option. Vote for this and we will strengthen our hand in a future negotiation. That is a very dangerous bluff.
Unprompted today, the Prime Minister drew on his experience as the Governor of the Bank of England during the Brexit crisis. When asked what he thinks of the referendum question Smith is putting to Albertans this fall.
I saw firsthand what happened in the United Kingdom when the view was vote for this, it'll be soft, and then we'll negotiate, etc. And they ended up, and they're still 10 years later trying to undo what people didn't think they were voting for, but what they ended up having.
Carney's words of caution about understanding the risk of using this referendum as a bargaining chip was met with pushback from Premier Smith, who has called it an exercise in democracy.
I'm just trying to get a gauge of where Albertans are at. I think that that's respectful of the process that 700,000 people went through in signing their petitions.
That sentiment echoed by the separatist Bloc Québécois.
Still up to Albertans to decide, and definitely not to another government to decide on what if the question should have been asked in the first place.
Conservatives said Carney's comments do nothing to address Albertans' concerns.
He has no right to wag his finger. That makes it worse.
As her province contemplates whether to vote to remain or pursue a path towards independence, Smith also said today she'll keep working with Carney towards a stronger Alberta within a united Canada. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Korean submarine sailed into Victoria this past weekend for a joint military exercise with the Canadian Navy, but that's not the only reason. As Adrian Gabriel explains, the Koreans are on a bit of a mission to woo Canada with a historic military procurement decision looming on the horizon.
Cutting through Canadian coastal waters, the arrival of the Republic of Korea's Navy is promising to usher in a new era of middle power might and cohesion in protecting the open seas.
Be safe! What really hits home is that Canada needs new submarines.
The Republic of Korea Navy arrived at CFB Esquimalt this weekend on board its KSS-3 submarine. A bid is in place for Canada to purchase 12 of these South Korean-made subs. The only other finalist vying to deliver Canada's next-generation submarine is a joint German-Norwegian bid. Ottawa will announce the winner of the contract this summer, which could come with a price tag of $25 billion. The Korean Navy gave CTV News a tour inside the submarine that could be the centerpiece of Canada's naval future. We were forbidden from taking any of our own video inside. Korean Navy provided footage shows their crew in action. The submarine is more spacious inside than Canada's aging fleet, with the capability to deploy both anti-ship and land attack cruise missiles.
I just want to say thank you.
2 Canadian submariners traveled with the Korean Navy for part of the journey to Canada. When asked to compare the difference between the current Korean sub to Canada's aging fleet, they didn't mince words.
It's kind of like buying a brand new Tesla, and then you're coming out of a 99 Honda Civic.
The Canadian Navy's 4 Victoria-class subs were first built in the 1980s. Only one is currently operational.
You have 3 oceans to patrol. How difficult does that make your job?
I do not have enough ships to patrol and to protect Canada like we should, which is why we're investing.
Currently, the Canadian Navy has approximately 200 submariners. They will need at least 1,000 strong to operate a fleet of 12 submarines.
This is all about democracy and freedom.
The ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Canada believes his country is well positioned to help protect Canadian coastal sovereignty.
Middle powers need to work together, and Korea stands ready to work together with Canada.
In increasingly troubled waters, the Canadian government is focused on forging friendships as it rekindles historic military alliances.
With a decision expected as early as this June, whoever is chosen to deliver Canada's next-generation submarine is poised to play an integral role in shaping the country's Navy for decades to come. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, CFB Esquimalt.
The Canadian government is leasing 10 new firefighting planes and helicopters in preparation for this year's wildfire season. Ottawa says provinces and territories will be able to request the use of 4 air tankers, 1 spotter plane, and 5 heavy-lift helicopters. The assets will be positioned within Canada based on fire activity forecasts and current wildfire activity. They will be paid for by a new $317 million budget allocated to establish a national aerial firefighting surge capacity. And Canada is accusing Israel of violating the Vienna Convention. The international agreement regulates treaties among sovereign countries. The accusation relates to Israel's mistreatment of Canadians participating in a flotilla that was trying to reach Gaza. 12 Canadians were among hundreds of people on 41 boats intercepted by the Israelis earlier this month. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says she heard from her officials about appalling abuse suffered by the detainees. And Anita Anand told Israel's Foreign Minister today that denying Canadian citizens access to consular services while they were detained must never happen again. She says Canada is providing Israeli authorities with evidence of the mistreatment, and Ottawa has asked for and expects an independent investigation. Israel says it will continue to act in full accordance with international law. Coming up, a long overdue correction at the Legislative Building concerning the women's washroom facilities.
It's Saskatchewan Tourism Week. Tuesday on your morning, we're live on location at Echo Valley, teeing up a busy programming week and the spring-summer season.
All right,
right, welcome back. We're going to take a look at what your forecast is looking like heading into the rest of the weekend, and it's one word: hot. Very hot, and we're already seeing those heat warnings put into place for the rest of the week. And we saw some very warm temperatures here in Regina. Taking a look outside through our sky cam, we're continuing to see the temperature at 29 degrees, winds at just over 15 kilometers an hour, and that's just the beginning. So again, the heat warnings are in place for parts of Saskatchewan, southern Saskatchewan in particular, where we will see those daytime highs anywhere between low 30s to mid 30s for most of the week. And as I mentioned earlier, not much relief in sight for the evenings, where we usually see the temperatures cool down. Still expecting to be sitting in the high teens to mid 20s for most, low 20s for most of the week. So the only thing I can really show you on our map right now is that we're not really expecting much in terms of active weather like thunderstorms or anything like that. Though, as we already talked about with Lee, there is that possibility of some pop-up showers happening, especially when we have that very high temperatures, and then the combination with some high humidity could result in some pop-up thunderstorms. And actually, there is a risk in Alberta tomorrow, which could possibly lead into parts of southern Saskatchewan. Very light chance of some thunderstorms in parts around Swift Current, even into the Regina area. But big story mainly would be the weather, or the winds picking up. We could see some very high winds, gusting close to about 50 kilometers an hour at first, and then throughout the rest of the week, we could see them actually pick up even more, gusting up to about 60 kilometers an hour. But for the most part, especially as we're taking a look at southern Saskatchewan, we're seeing clear conditions, not even a lot when it comes to cloud cover, and then just the winds. It's not until we get into Wednesday evening, we could see some, again, scattered precipitation in the southwest there. But for the most part, the story is very warm temperatures and a lot of sunshine, and that's what we're going to see heading into tomorrow. Tonight, lows aren't too bad for the most part, but we're still seeing them a little warmer than that average 6 to 7 degrees. 30 degrees, though, expected for Lloydminster and Prince Albert. Tomorrow, 26 for La Loche. La Ronge, 23 and mainly sunny. And then we get even warmer. Saskatoon, North Battleford expecting to warm up to 31 degrees, 27 and a mix of sun and cloud for Yorkton. The southwest, 33 degrees is the expected high for Maple Creek, Swift Current and Moose Jaw. And over in the southeast, very similar temperatures, seeing a mix of sun and cloud, but 33 for Weyburn and Assiniboia, and for Estevan, 32 with a mix of sun and cloud. A closer look at Regina tonight. 13 is the low tonight, so a nice balmy evening tonight. However, the winds, as you can see, expected to pick up, gusting to 50 kilometers an hour tomorrow. 32 is the expected daytime high, mainly sunny, and those winds staying in that 50 kilometer an hour range. But we will see them pick up even more as we head into the rest of this week. But take a look at what your next 7 days are looking like. Very warm temperatures, a lot of sunshine, even the lows in those high teens, even into the 20s for some parts. Tomorrow, mainly sunny, 32. Wednesday, winds gusting up to 55 kilometers an hour, a lot of sunshine, 33 is the expected high. 35 on Thursday. The winds gusting to 50, a low of 20. So like I said, not a lot of relief when expecting it to cool down at all. Friday, winds picking up to 55 kilometers an hour. 33 is the expected high. By Saturday, there is a slight chance we could see some scattered rain on Saturday. Winds gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour, an expected high of 30. And on Sunday, expected high of 30. And then we come back into that seasonal range by Monday. A mix of sun and cloud, and 23 is the expected high. So again, just keeping in mind that heat stroke, all of the things that you don't want to be, you want to be mindful of, especially with the elderly or young kids. Being out in that sun and warm temperatures could be dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, I know we're excited about those warm temperatures, but yeah, definitely the 35 degrees, man, that's going to be
very hot.
A tough day.
That's right.
Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, imagine working at a place where there was a special washroom for the male employees, but not for the women, forcing them to use the public washrooms. Well, that's what female MLAs dealt with right now at the legislature, with only the men having a members-only washroom. As Wayne Mantiga tells us, a long overdue correction is now on its way.
Construction crews are building a female members' washroom in an area just outside the Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly chamber.
I think this has been a project that has been known it needs to be done.
Back in the early 1900s, a female members' washroom wasn't included in plans for the legislative building because women didn't have the right to vote or to sit as elected members.
Sarah Ramsland was the first MLA, female member here in the Saskatchewan legislature back in 1919 to 23. Now we've got 30% of the members are female, and until this time we had a need for this.
The male members' washroom has been renovated over the years and still contains many of the original fixtures dating back over a century. The new female members' washroom will be of similar quality.
Marble, you see some oak, you see some tiles, and some heritage lighting, and balanced with the needs of barrier-free and family washroom aspects.
A few years ago, a very small washroom was set aside for female members of the legislature, but has proven inadequate because of the large number of women now sitting in the House. The new female members' washroom has the support of both the government and the opposition, a project considered by many to be long overdue. Wayne Mantica, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead with 5 days till training camp cuts. How can new riders impress with no games this week?
Here's a look at what's happening in our community. TEDx Regina 2026. Once Upon Our Future is happening on May 29th at 2 p.m. at Dark Hall, located at 2255 College Avenue. For more information, call 306-999-6062. And Jazz Fest Regina fundraiser featuring Frogback and Soul Deep will be happening on June 11th at 7 p.m. at the Revival Music Room, located at 2224 Dudney Avenue. For more information, head to connexusartscenter.ca/event/Regina Jazz Fest. Submit your event to our community by visiting our website, ctvregina.ca, and click Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen.
It may have only been a preseason game, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders gave fans in Saskatoon a memorable send-off with a thrilling victory over the Bombers. Now, the Green and White are back in Regina. As Donovan Mace tells us, there's some tough decisions ahead with no more games to use as evaluation.
And the game is over.
3 full weeks separate this kneel by quarterback Braden Shager and the Saskatchewan Roughriders' next snap in the regular season.
I wish the CFL could have done something about, giving us 5 days between games 1 and 2 and then 3 weeks off. It's borderline a month. Not like you do preseason stuff to get in rhythm, and then this happens.
As team training camp shifts back to Mosaic Stadium in Regina, time is running out for players with hopes of making it onto the final roster to make a lasting impression on coaches.
Touchdown, Riders! Johnny Johnson III.
Receiver Johnny Johnson III arrived at camp less than a week ago. Wouldn't mind more in-game reps.
It would mean a lot. It would be good. Definitely just getting full speed with guys. Just feeling that. But these guys are working hard. We're working hard in practice.
That's complete up to the 40.
There are more than a dozen receivers vying for limited space on the offense.
I'm making 76 look real nice.
Abdul Jannah Jr. was a camp attendee in 2025, but failed to crack the final roster. He's making the best of a second chance with a 100-yard preseason performance Saturday against Winnipeg.
I feel good with what I've done so far in camp, definitely. I feel like I've had a really, really great camp, and the past 2 preseason games, I feel like I did really, really well.
And with final cuts looming, decisions aren't getting any easier.
We still got another week of evaluation, obviously, but that's what you want, man. You want guys to shine, and we definitely thought we had more than a few of those guys do that. But we'll see. We'll leverage the weight of those 2 games, and then the full body of work throughout camp.
The deadline for final cuts is on Saturday. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
Alford crosses the 20 to the 30 to the 40. He's got something to the 50. Come on races. No one's gonna touch him.
As for former Riders, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have released veteran returner and receiver Mario Alford. For the past 3 seasons, Alford had 3 punt returns and 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns for the Riders, including that game-winning score in the final seconds versus Toronto last year. Riders did not re-sign him this offseason, and I guess we now know why. The best high school football players in Saskatchewan hit the field on Sunday at this year's Senior Bowl game. Impressive with the flip. The long-standing traditional football game features the top 80 graduating players from high schools across the province, from the north end of the province to the south end of the province, with various people attending the game, including coaches and scouts. Parents say this event is a great opportunity for the next generation of athletes.
Both of my brothers played in Senior Bowl back in the day, so it was pretty special that Bennett made the team as well.
It's an amazing evolution of high school ball, and to come to the fruition, and this is the end, to then move on to post-secondary soon after. It's exciting.
By the way, in the game, Team North beat Team South by a score 44-11. Still ahead, a documentary examining Indigenous identity wins top prize at the Yorkton Film Festival.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at your rural forecast tomorrow, and it's continuing to be hot right across the province. As you can see, a lot of sunshine and very warm temperatures. 27 and sunny in Hudson Bay, 29 for Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, 28 for Wynyard and Melfort, 30 for Lloydminster, 31 for Watrous, and Outlook and Kindersley, 32 degrees. Closer to the southern border, similar temperatures, a little warmer over in Coronach. There, 34 degrees, 33 for Leader and Maple Creek and Assiniboia, 32 for Rosetown, Pilot Butte, Lumsden, Rockland, 31 for East End Cypress. And over in the southeast, temperatures not in the 30s, but close enough. 27 and sunny for Kenora, Broadview, 28 and sunny, and Carlisle, 29 and a mix of sun and cloud. Taking a closer look at Buchanan, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 65, 67 kilometers north of Yorkton. Tomorrow, warming up to 26 degrees. Sunshine throughout the day, and heading into the evening, the temperature will drop to about 11 degrees.
The incident happened on May the 2nd, 2026 at around 3 o'clock in the morning in the area of 7th Avenue and Robinson Street. Two men were involved in a confrontation with the victim when one of the men struck the victim several times with an edged weapon. The suspect is described as an Indigenous man in his early 20s, about 6 foot 2 inches tall, 200 pounds, and had a buzz cut styled haircut.
I'm Constable Dana Adams with the Regina Police Service. Crime Stoppers will pay up to $2,000 cash reward for information on this or any other serious crime in Regina. Callers do not have to identify themselves. Calls are not traced or recorded. In Regina, Saskatchewan, and Canada, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. You can also access our website at www.reginacrimestoppers.ca. Remember, our community suffers when you remain silent. Please report crime.
Crime Stoppers is brought to you by Leak Audiology, helping you live well with better hearing.
The 35th edition of the Cathedral Village Arts Festival wrapped up on Saturday. Organizers were pretty happy with the turnout, especially for the street fair on 13th Avenue Saturday. The CVAF says 390 vendors were situated throughout the week. There were 44 different sponsors and accumulated about $200,000. Half of the budget comes from the street fair, the other half from donations.
I think the reason that we have so many vendors is a reflection on the state of the economy. Like, we have people who come in here from PA in the north and from Kelowna and Brandon and stuff like that. And they're all people trying to make a little bit of money because it's hard, right? And then if you're into art and music and poetry and dance and stuff, we have a whole week of content and everything is free.
Young says that the Cathedral Village Arts Festival had about 30,000 people visit when he started as director in 2022. This year, though, he is estimating it was at least 50,000. Saskatchewan 6 took to Regina's streets on Saturday to celebrate the birth of the Khalsa. The day started out with a parade and then progressed its way to Wascana Centre Park. The Khalsa was created in April of 1699, where the 10th Guru tested the Sikhs by asking for volunteers to sacrifice themselves. The first 5 devoters formed the first Khalsa.
Indian values. The Sikh values of inclusivity. The Sikh values are that of standing against injustice. The Sikh values are of that earning an honest wage, earning your honest living, and then sharing. So this is our way of sharing our culture, our food with everyone to show that we belong here. We are part of the Canadian and the Saskatchewan fabric.
Singh went on to say that he believed between 4,000 to 5,000 people marched in the parade. Canadian filmmakers were being recognized in Yorkton at one of the oldest film festivals in North America.
I did not push that, don't cry, you know, like, I know we grew up around that, like, always that, you know.
The film Siksikaikawan, The Blackfoot Man, won 2 of the Yorkton Film Festival's highest Golden Sheaf Awards, Best of Festival and Best Feature Documentary. The film captures the lives of men balancing the weight of kinship with the evolving expectations of manhood in the prairies, in addition to reshaping the narrative of Indigenous identity. The Ruth Shaw Best of Saskatchewan Award went to Lowell Dean for his film Die Alone, a post-apocalyptic love story about a man with amnesia teaming up with a tough survivalist during a zombie-like outbreak.
There was never a guarantee that we would get to make this movie, and especially not in Saskatchewan. And the recent support that Creative Saskatchewan got, the increased incentive, is 100% the reason that we were looking at other provinces, and that's the reason we got to come home and make a movie with friends.
By the way, that movie took 10 years to create. Scenes were filmed in Regina, Katepwa, Capel, and other areas in Saskatchewan. The Yorkton Film Festival, by the way, in 2027 will be celebrating 80 years. Quite the run they have. All right, canola street price is down $4.30 to $694.25 per ton, while the futures price went down 40 cents to $767.60 per ton. $278.59 per ton for amber durum wheat. Red spring wheat has gone up 7 cents to $294.40 per ton. Feed barley, $250.88 per ton, and flax is $630.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge and Ice Futures Canada. As for the markets, the TSX went up 359 points. The Dow Jones on the Memorial Day in America went up 294 points. The Canadian dollar went down a little more than 1/10 cent to 72.45 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold up $61.10. West Texas Intermediate crude up 25 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude went up 61 cents. And did that change anything for gas in Regina? Well, it actually went down. It is now below $1.80 per liter. Sounds a lot still, but it was better than what we had. How many Big Bangs, Sabine?
1.
2.
Oh.
We'll start off with Big Bang, then Hockey Fanatics, then Battle of the Generations for an hour, The Rookie for an hour, Big Bang Theory again, ruining Sabine's win streak, and then E-Talk.
There's a lot happening tonight on CTV.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So don't change that. I was going to say dial, but who has dials under TVs anymore? It's been a good year already for Saskatchewan when it comes to lottery winners. Someone in the province has the $1 million winning ticket for Saturday's Lotto 649 Gold Ball draw.
It's not me. The Western Canada Lottery Corporation hasn't said where exactly the lucky ticket was bought, just that it was somewhere outside of Saskatoon and Regina. The winner or winners have 1 year to claim the jackpot.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's done well in this 5-month span.
A good year so far. While the Riders' preseason game was the main draw in Saskatoon this past weekend, another event drew in quite the crowd as well.
Are you set? Go!
The 5th annual Corgi races were hosted at Crossmount Cider Company's Sunday afternoon. 60 four-legged friends showcasing their speed in front of the crowd. One of the organizers says the event is getting larger every year thanks to the love of this breed, the Corgi.
That is so cute.
Yep. Queen Elizabeth loved her Corgis.
I do need to just also give a shout out for our halftime at the Rider game in Saskatoon. They had a mascot race. Gaynor won.
Gaynor won?
Yep. Just took over and won the race.